Welcome everybody. This is our panel discussion today on project management and the career path. I want to start by thanking C3 for doing this for us today, because this is a pretty amazing opportunity for the kids of Houston to find out a little bit more about their career paths. And I want to thank all the sponsors that made this possible and all of the folks that are doing presenting today. So I'm going to start introducing some of our folks on the panel. We've got Alan Martinez. He is a project manager with Gilbane Building Company, and he is a mentor for the ACE mentoring program and a superstar. We like to just say he's a superstar. And we have Ashley Rhodes, who is a superstar as well. She works for McCarthy. She's a project manager. She's working on the road, which is pretty cool. She's on a project up that she's going to tell us about as we go. She's with the ACE mentoring program. And her and I are partners in crime on a women in construction group for the AGC in Houston, which is for a group for women who'd like to wear boots. So, and I'm Angela Cody. I'm a project executive with Gilbane, and I'm excited to moderate today. So we're just going to dive right in. The first question about project management that I want to ask you guys, and I'm going to throw you off because it wasn't on your list. But when you were a kid, did you think that this was an option? And what kind of hobbies did you have that kind of led you in this direction? We'll start with Alan.
I didn't know that managing a project was an option, but I certainly knew that I wanted to do construction. And if there's anything directly linked with what I do nowadays as a hobby when I was a kid was playing with Legos. That's the first thing that comes to mind. And I see Ashley nodding her head. She probably had a similar upbringing. Yeah. So that was my thing.
Okay. What about you, Ashley?
Interestingly enough, when I was a child, I just knew that I was going to be an architect and interior designer, and it was just stamped on me. I knew it, and there was no other thing in the world that was going to happen to me. I also enjoyed playing with Legos, but something about construction sites always caught my sight, and I just wanted to be involved in the process from nothing to something. You know, living down the street from a construction site, you would drive past it one day, you'd see the slab, then the next thing you'd see is framing, and all of a sudden you got this building and it's beautiful. And I was like, I wonder how they did it. And so, you know, architecture and interior design kind of goes with it, but the construction side was my calling, and I thank God that I actually chose that route.
I just said the same thing this morning, that I had wanted to be an architect forever and ended up in construction. It's amazing how your path takes you. So how would you describe the project management aspect of commercial building and design construction to somebody who would want to have this as their career? And how long have you been doing it? Start with Ashley.
So the way I describe it to my friends, and this is the technical definition of it, construction management is the professional services to a project owner, and we manage the processes of subcontractors, of the scopes, the schedule, the cost, and the quality. But it's so much more than that. That is the meat of it, but the actuality is that you have, you're changing the skylines of the communities that you serve. You're building structures that will impact lives for generations to come. You're involved in the community. Anywhere that you build, you're going to meet your neighbors. They're going to get involved. They're going to ask questions. And most of all, I love the people that I meet. I meet people from different walks of life. The networking aspect of it is just endless. And I've been in the field for about 8 years. I'm sorry.
That's okay. What about you, Alan?
I think Ashley did a really good job of summarizing it. A couple of other things that we do around here are negotiating, like she said, contracts. We do a lot of correspondence with attorneys when there's legal issues, manage the budget, which is very closely tied to our schedule. I've been doing it for about 8 years, and a big part of the way I like summarizing it is we do a little bit of everything. You're the jack of all trades, and you learn along the way. Usually the more challenging days are the ones where you learn the most, if I can condense it in as quick as I can.
Well put, team. Definitely we make people's dreams happen, right? You get somebody has an idea and you make it happen. So why did you choose to go into project management? I mean, there are a lot of different routes that you could do. Why did you choose commercial construction? We'll start with Alan.
Well, my story, I guess it was a little bit fluid and it happened naturally, really. I started in the residential world as a superintendent building homes. Um, and then through networking, which is very important in this industry, I was lucky enough to rub shoulders with some of the right people in Gilbane. And I was just graduating school. I ended up becoming an intern and I found this wonderful industry. I mean, I love what I do day in and day out.
Cool. Go for it, Ashley.
So my story is a little bit different. It was actually by happenstance. When I was in college, kind of chasing after this architecture and interior design dream, it flipped my freshman year, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be an engineer. And so I went head deep into civil engineering, thinking that was the road I wanted to take. After that first year, I realized flat work wasn't for me. I wasn't really too keen on infrastructure and building bridges and roadways, but that's also cool, not taking anything away from it. But I fancied vertical construction. I fancied what it took. You know, I love the aesthetics of buildings and you know, building out something that's pretty, or you know, and so my advisor actually, my first year, before I even chose civil engineering, she took the corner of the construction management major in the book that everybody gets in college, and she folded it in. And so as I'm flipping through trying to figure out which track I'm going to take in life, construction management was flipped down, and I was like, maybe this is it. And I did it, and that was all she wrote.
Very cool. I'm going to ask you guys another question that came up as I was listening to you both talk. You both kind of started with a different idea in your head. And as you look forward in your career, how fluid do you feel that this industry is for those changes? Like you decide that you want to go into, like you like vertical construction now, but maybe you want to go into building a zoo or building a hospital or something like that. How do you think there's flexibility so that you can kind of follow dreams as they pop in your head?
Oh, absolutely. I believe that there's opportunities everywhere. Like Alan and I both mentioned, the network. Opportunities that you get when you're building any structure or anywhere in anybody's community is a pleasure. We work with engineers and architects that know other people. If you can't find it within your own organization, there's definitely somewhere to find it out, you know, just by networking, just picking up the phone and having a conversation. The possibilities are endless. If you find yourself in project management, it's not necessarily for you, and you'd rather go and you know, work with the design side of things, there's an opportunity for you to do that as well. And honestly, I believe it's all about your network.
Yeah. What about you, Alan?
I totally agree with what Ashley said. It's big when you take opportunities, and they present themselves sometimes once in a lifetime. So if you're found with an opportunity, jump on it, of course. And on the terms of fluidity, certainly there's tons of opportunity. If you start at a GC, for example, and you're not feeling, you know, the broader terms of things, you might want to talk to your mechanical guys. And if you want to become a specialist in mechanical, electrical, plumbing, maybe even interior finishes, if you want to get back more into the architectural side of things, those opportunities are always open. People usually notice the performers. So you put the work in, people notice, they'll want to, you know, bring you on board to a team if that opportunity presents itself.
Great. I think you both alluded to something interesting, and I think I'm sorry I keep going off course, but that's what project management is all about, is being ready for anything, right? So if both of you guys sound like you had a lot of opportunities to get to where you are, you went to college and got degrees, um, routes to get there other than the way that you took to get there? Why don't you tell me, Alan?
The last part of the question cut off a little bit.
Other than the way that you got to your role, what are some opportunities or other routes that you've seen people take in your career that you work with, or other ways to get there other than, because it sounds like you both kind of took a traditional route to get your project management role.
Yeah, a really good friend of mine is a superintendent with Gilbane, and he took a non-traditional route. Started off as a journeyman in the field for a carpentry firm, and picked up the trade in the field. And I think that's absolutely necessary to understand if you're going to be sitting behind a desk putting together a building, because you got to know what you're talking about all of the time. So putting the work in the field, I think if you have that trade background, and again have the right network, jump on the right opportunities, you can certainly get to where you want to get to.
All you, Ashley.
All right. So actually, the previous CEO of our company started off as a carpenter. He definitely did not take the traditional route. And if that's any attest to success, that's it right there. It's super inspiring to know that. And, times are changing, and a lot of these companies, a lot of the companies, partner companies, are no longer looking for that 4-year degree. There's wealth and experience. And, college is not for everybody, and that doesn't mean that you can't be a project manager or a CEO. I mean, the opportunity is there. It's all about your willingness and your relentlessness to get there. And it's all about you. The power lies within you. So just because I chose to go to college doesn't mean that you have to go to college to get to where you want to be in life. It's all inside of you.
Great. Both of you have floor plans and drawings behind you. Will you tell me what project you're working on, and if you've done any exciting projects in the past, like your favorite job that you've worked on? You both been doing this for 8 years. So what's the best project you've worked on, and what are you doing now? And I won't tell your boss if the one you're doing now isn't your favorite. Start, Ashley.
All right. So actually, I'm kind of stepping out of the little commercial world that I've been living in for the past 8 years. I'm sorry, I'm widening my horizon. I'm actually on a solar project in Michigan. It's about 15 minutes outside of Flint, Michigan, on 1,200 acres of farmland. So it is quite big. It's a lot, and it's the future of renewable energy. And it's great to be out here. I'm learning so much, and the construction world is just growing day by day by day by day. So there's opportunity all over the place. So my favorite project was HSPVA, which is the High School of Performing and Visual Arts in Houston, downtown. Many reasons why that was my favorite project. The team was great. The company I worked for was great. The owners were amazing. And just the kids that go to that school just made it all worth it. When at the end of a project, when you're given the keys over and all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into getting that job done, there's nothing like walking away and just feeling pride in what you do. And that project, that will live with me for a lifetime. That feeling will live with me for a lifetime.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead, Alan.
I am on a medical center project here in the Houston Medical Center. We are building a radiation treatment therapy center, which is part clinic space, and then the other part is kind of like a particle accelerator with 4 large treatment rooms that they treat cancer patients in. And I can hands down say this has been my favorite project so far. To the tune of Ashley, the client is head and shoulders above my previous jobs that I've worked on. The team is phenomenal, and the camaraderie that you build on a job. Sometimes the project that you're working on might not be the most technically advanced, but the people that you're working with day to day make that is a fulfillment. It gives you the fulfillment of really loving what you do and wanting to go to work and be the best that you can.
Awesome. So you guys are building things that are changing lives, whether it's educating people or saving their life, literally. I mean, you're building ways of saving people's lives, saving energy, saving our earth. I don't think sometimes we even look at our own jobs that way. But when you don't have a job that is that delivers, right? We have jobs that deliver a product and we can see it. And it's so wonderful to be able to impact your community. You can impact the world. I mean, you guys are truly making changes in the world just by what you're doing. And that's a great feeling. And you talked about teams. I think that was a good point as well, that your teams are always going to change. This career doesn't mean that you're in the same office space, right? The two office spaces that you guys are in are temporary, and the team that you're with is for the duration of that time. So your life changes and your group changes with each project. So, and I loved hearing about your favorite ones. That's great. So if you were telling folks that that are interested in this career, what are some of the most important skills and qualities that you need to have in order to actually be successful? And then, and we already talked a little bit about the education part of it, but what do you feel when you look around, and why do you guys are successful for a reason, right? So what other skills, or what skills do you think you bring to the table that make you successful? Start with Ashley.
Well, I rely heavily, and I tell this to everybody who asks, like, what do I do, and what kind of skills do you need? Critical thinking and technical thinking is by far is what you need to get this job done. One thing that has boosted my career was my eagerness and willingness to learn constantly. Every day is something new. You're constantly going to be learning something, and you have to be willing and eager always and hungry for it. Another thing is being a team player. Nobody builds a building alone, and you have got to learn how to pass the ball when necessary and ask for help when necessary. That is the only way to success in this business. And you can't be afraid to get dirty.
Yep.
Go ahead, Alan.
Okay, I think Ashley did a really good job of summarizing some key points. A few other ones that I would add. Definitely a attention to detail, because a lot of what we do was in construction drawings. So the attention to detail and the specifications, the devil is in the details a lot of times. A relentlessness in not being afraid to take on challenges definitely is important. And a commitment to quality, and not only in delivering quality with what we build in the administrative functions that we do, but quality with safety. I think that's absolutely important. Yep.
Great, because I know that some of the people on the phone have never seen anyone who does this kind of work before, right? When they think of construction workers, they think of what they've seen on TV, or they see the people who are building the houses in their neighborhood and things like that. So as when you think of that career path, and so some folks may have never seen anyone who does your job, and today they may not have had any idea that this job even existed. What would you say, other than the, we talked about how you got your start, but when you started your very first job, what was that career path like for you? Like when you talk about project management, what are kind of the steps that you see as growth, and where can you go with it? What's the next step for you guys? So we'll start with Alan on that one.
Well, for growth, the first job that I was on, I was an intern, like I mentioned, and it was a lot of background supporting the project manager and the project engineer on site. I always made sure that I wasn't afraid to take on new challenges or learn something new whenever I could, to be a sponge. And that kind of carries over the more you move up. If you continue to keep your plate loaded and take on more challenges and obviously solve the problems, people will notice and you will be promoted. I think if you try to keep that mentality day in and day out, then the career growth is just natural. So opportunity-wise, I'm going to continue to develop and try to be as best of a project manager that I can, day in and day out, and with a optimistic outlook on being a project executive one day. Yep.
Maybe you'll be my boss one day, Alan. That would be great. Go ahead, Ashley. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with Alan in regards to not being fearful on taking on challenges. Another thing that I learned early on, and thankfully I had a mentor to kind of guide me, is that it's okay to fail, and you want to fail fast, and you want to get up, learn, and keep it moving. Ever so often, you get a lot of young PEs, a lot of first years coming in, and they're afraid to fail, and they're skittish to fail, and it's like that's how we learn in this industry. You got to do it wrong in order to know how to do it right, and so I think honestly, that's really what created my path, is learning how to, and it's never a failure, right? It's always an opportunity to succeed, or an opportunity to learn a lesson. And so that's kind of what kept me moving in my career, is mentorship, having somebody to support along the way, whether it be inside of your organization or out. And they don't even have to be related to the construction world, but it does help to have somebody that can relate to your struggle within the construction world. But have somebody that is going to mentor you professionally and kind of hold you accountable. And so as far as project management, there's really no end to it. You can go into the field route, and just like we spoke about earlier, you can, let's say you get to project management level, and like, you know what, I kind of want to work with the architects. I want to go design something. There's no limit to what you can do. You can go out and be a superintendent in the field, or you can go to pre-construction and do estimating. The options are limitless, honestly. So, when my advice to anybody who gets to this level in their career, you can be a career project manager, you can be the CEO. It doesn't matter. It's all up to you.
Well put, both of you, because it is an endless opportunities and chances to be an inventor, right? You get to be creative every day. If after 2 years you decide you don't like that, you can move on to the next project or look for opportunities, but you have to ask for it, right? So if the students that are watching are interested in a career like this, what would you advise them on? Go ahead, Ashley, you can start with that.
Well, just like you mentioned earlier, ACE is a nonprofit organization that is focused on the architecture, construction, and engineering fields. A lot of high school students join in, and they get to work with actual professionals just like me and you, to learn a little bit more about that industry, and figure out, if it's for me and if it's not for me. And it would have been an excellent thing for me to do in high school. I had absolutely no idea about it, but now I'm here to tell you all, especially going my architecture route, I would have learned quickly that the construction route was better for me. I probably would have graduated sooner. Neither here nor there. But also another piece of advice would be to just network, or find a professional, get on LinkedIn, and just find somebody random. Hopefully they'll respond positively, and just kind of talk to them about it. Figure out, hey, how did you get into this? What do you think? And just kind of pick your brains. I'm on LinkedIn. You can look me up. I'll be more than happy to talk to you all about it. And I'm here.
Very, very nice. Thank you. Alan, what about you?
I totally agree. ACE is, I think, the first and foremost path that you should pursue in trying to maybe get your feet wet and see if this is for you or not. And then once you get into the program, you can obviously network with other peers and professionals, and it should be a diverse, group of professionals that'll give you the opportunity to maybe find that right path that you might want to go to, whether it's field, whether it's administrative, whether it's design, or anything else in between. Again, I'm also on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect, and I will be happy to assist as needed.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate y'all pitching ACE mentoring program. So if anybody's interested, actually it's at acementor.org, and it's a national program, and they have opportunities. But, and there's other opportunities out there too, just like Ashley had stated, if there's something that interests you, ask. If you see something that looks cool, ask how they did it. If you see somebody, or even if you're thinking maybe it would be really amazing to build a church or build a school or do something like that, you Google it and look it up and find those people. I'm on LinkedIn too, and all of us are. That just shows you that 3 professionals are out there and willing. And you would be amazed at how many times I've gotten phone calls randomly from students that just said, hey, I wanted to see, how did you do that? How did this work? Would you be willing to help me? So our time is wrapping up. I wanted to ask if there was any audience questions. And while we're waiting for those to come in, I'll let Alan give some parting thoughts if you had anything else you wanted to say, and then we'll follow with Ashley.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It feels really good to be able to, do some grassroots outreaching and give personal feedback on what I do day to day. I haven't been lucky enough like you, Angela, to get randomly approached by anyone on definite interest, but it'll happen. I'm sure it will. But it definitely feels good to reach out and give some personal feedback.
Go ahead.
Awesome. I'm going to mimic Alan with that one. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all. And I really absolutely enjoy the C3 organization, and everything they're doing is absolutely excellent. I'm just, one thing about me is somebody reached back and helped me, and I will continue to do that any way that I can. So this is a form of reaching back, anything that I can do. Like I said, if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn. Ask me any questions and I'm here for you. I would love to be a mentor if you want one. I'm here for it all. My reach back game is strong.
Awesome. Well, thank you again to C3 and all of our sponsors for supporting this event, and for thank you, Alan and Ashley. I know you guys are busy on your incredibly awesome world-saving, life-saving jobs out there. Taking a few minutes to do this today. So thank you very much.